There's a switch sitting on the dashboard of half the diesel utes in Australia right now, and there's a good chance the owner has never touched it. Some owners don't even know it's there. Ignore it long enough and it can turn into a repair bill running well into the thousands of dollars, the kind that's actually ended up in front of a federal court. That's just the first one. Over the next few minutes, you're going to learn about 10 features hiding in plain sight on the utes Aussies drive every day, from off-road traction tricks tradies swear by, to towing tech most buyers never get shown at the dealership, to one capability that quietly turns a dual cab into a portable power station. Some of these will save you money. One of them might genuinely change how you use your ute on the next job or the next trip. Let's start with the one sitting on the dash that almost nobody talks about. Hidden feature number 10, the DPF reg switch. On a huge chunk of diesel utes sold in Australia, there's a small button, usually unlabeled or buried in a sub-menu, that manually triggers regeneration of the diesel particulate filter. The DPF's job is to trap the soot that comes out of a diesel engine, and normally it burns that soot off by itself during a long, steady highway run. The problem is most ute owners aren't doing long, steady highway runs. They're doing the school drop-off, the trip to the hardware store, stop-start traffic around a job site, all the short, low-speed driving that never lets the filter get hot enough to clean itself. The filter clogs, a warning light comes on, and if it's ignored, you're looking at a blocked DPF and a repair bill that can run into the thousands. This isn't theoretical. It was serious enough that around 264,000 diesel Hilux, Prado, and Fortuner vehicles sold between October 2015 and April 2020 became the subject of a federal court case in Australia, with judgment delivered against Toyota in 2022. The fix, in a lot of cases, is as simple as knowing the switch exists and using it the moment the warning light shows up, instead of waiting. Hidden feature number 9, the rear difference lock. Picture two wheels on the same axle, one sitting on grippy gravel, the other hanging in a rut with nothing underneath it. With a normal open differential, the engine sends power to whichever wheel has the least resistance, which sounds helpful until you realize that's exactly the wheel spinning uselessly in the air. A rear differential lock fixes that by forcing both rear wheels to spin at exactly the same speed, splitting drive evenly no matter which one has grip. It's standard on plenty of 4x4 dual cabs in Australia, including higher grades of the Isuzu D-Max and the Toyota Hilux, usually activated with a single dash button once you're in low range. The catch is most owners never flick it on outside of a guided 4x4 tour, because it's tucked away near the drive mode dial and nobody's shown them what it actually does. Next time the back end starts skating on loose dirt or a boat ramp, that button is the difference between driving out and waiting for a tow. Hidden feature number 8, trailer sway control. Anyone who's towed a trailer, caravan, or box trailer on a windy highway knows the moment when the whole rig starts wagging like a dog's tail. Trailer sway control, which comes standard on the Toyota Hilux, is built specifically for that moment. It uses the same yaw, pitch, and roll sensors that run the vehicle's stability control, watching for the unmistakable signature of a trailer starting to sway rather than the ute itself losing grip. The instant it picks that pattern up, it cuts engine power and brakes individual wheels to settle the rig back into line, all before the drivers even processed what's happening. Most people who own a ute fitted with this have no idea it's there, because it only ever shows up in the split second they actually need it. It's not something you switch on. It's something running quietly in the background every time you hitch up, ready to catch the one mistake that usually ends with a jackknife trailer on the side of the road. Hidden feature number 7, integrated trailer brake controller. Anyone who's towed anything over 750 kilograms knows you legally need a trailer brake controller, and for years that meant an aftermarket box bolted under the dash with wires running back to the tow bar. On current Ford Ranger XLS models in Australia, that controller now comes built into the vehicle from a factory, paired with a tow bar, an automatic trailer light check, and blind spot monitoring that's been extended to cover the length of the trailer itself, not just the ute. That last part matters more than it sounds. A standard blind spot system only watches the ute's own blind spot, which is almost useless once you've got a 6-meter van hanging off the back. Extending that coverage means the system is finally watching the space that actually matters when you're trying to merge with a loaded trailer behind you. None of this needs to be switched on or learned. It's simply there, working, on a model grade a lot of buyers assume is the basic one. Hidden feature number 6, Pro Trailer Backup Assist. Reversing a trailer is one of those skills that looks effortless until you're the one doing it, because every instinct tells you to turn the wheel the way you want the trailer to go, when it's actually the opposite. On the Ford Ranger and Everest, there's a system that removes that problem entirely. A small sticker fitted to the trailer's drawbar lets the vehicle's cameras track the trailer's exact angle in real time. From there, instead of touching the steering wheel at all, the driver presses the trailer icon on the drive mode dial and simply twists the outer ring in the direction they want the trailer to travel, while the vehicle handles the actual steering input itself. It sounds like a gimmick until you've watched someone back a boat down a narrow ramp on their first attempt using nothing but that dial. It's standard on higher Ranger grades and optional on others, and most owners discover it by accident months after buying, usually while scrolling through menus they've never opened. Speaking of features buyers discover by accident, if you don't want to miss the rest of this list, now's a good time to hit subscribe, because the next few features get a lot more technical, and number 1 is the kind of thing most UTE owners have never even heard exists. Hidden feature number 5. Multi-terrain monitor. Most people know their UTE has a reversing camera. Fewer know that on higher-grade dual cabs like the Toyota Hilux, that same camera system can be switched into a mode that effectively lets you see the ground underneath the vehicle, not just behind it. A set of 4 cameras builds a real-time, near 360-degree view of the area immediately around the UTE, including a simulated image of what's beneath the chassis, with graphics showing exactly where each tire is sitting relative to the track ahead. Icons tied to the parking sensors flash red the moment something's about to make contact, and each wheel's graphic lights up if it starts spinning without traction. There's even an inclinometer showing how far the vehicle is pitched and rolled at any given moment. For anyone picking a line through rocks, ruts, or a steep creek crossing, this turns guesswork into something you can actually see on the screen, instead of just feeling it through the seat of your pants. Hidden feature number 4. Downhill assist control. Coming down a steep, loose surface track is one of those situations where most drivers either ride the brakes the whole way down, locking up and losing steering control, or panic and let the vehicle run away from them. Downhill assist control, standard on the Toyota Hilux and available across several other 4x4 dual cabs, takes both pedals out of the equation entirely. Once activated with a single button, the system brakes each wheel individually to hold a steady, controlled descent speed, without the driver touching the brake or the accelerator at all. It's essentially cruise control built for going downhill instead of along the flat. The driver's only job is to steer. It sounds almost too simple, but on a wet boat ramp, a rutted fire trail, or a steep driveway after rain, it's the difference between a smooth, predictable descent and a moment where the back end gets away from you. Hidden feature number 3. Wading depth and stationary water holding. Every UTE buyer eventually checks the wading depth spec and assumes it's just a number for the brochure. On the latest generation Toyota Hilux, that figure sits at 700 millimeters, but the part almost nobody mentions is that the vehicle is also rated to sit stationary in water at that depth for up to 10 minutes without an issue. That second part is the one that actually matters out in the bush. Water crossings rarely go to plan. A queue forms at a creek crossing, someone stalls ahead of you, or you simply need to stop and check the line before committing, and that's exactly the situation where a vehicle only rated for moving through water, not sitting in it, starts letting water creep up through seals it was never designed to hold back for long. Knowing your UTE can actually wait, not just wade, changes how confidently you approach a crossing in the first place. Hidden feature number 2. Cabin detection alert system. This one isn't really for the driver at all. It's for everyone walking past the UTE after it's been parked. Toyota's cabin detection alert system, fitted to the latest Hilux, uses a millimeter wave radar inside the cabin to monitor for signs of life, the kind of sensor more usually associated with hospital equipment than a tradie's UTE. If it detects a child or a pet left inside after the vehicle's locked, it triggers an alert intended to warn people nearby, not just the owner who's already walked off. It's a genuinely first-of-its-kind feature on a vehicle in this category, built for the handful of seconds where a forgotten passenger in a hot cabin can turn dangerous fast. Most owners will never need it to fire. The ones who do will be glad it was quietly running the entire time, without them ever having to switch it on. Hidden feature number 1. Pro Power Onboard. This is the one that genuinely changes what a UTE is. On the plug-in hybrid version of the Ford Ranger, an 11.8 kilowatt-hour battery isn't just there to drive the wheels, it can also be tapped as a mobile power source through outlets built straight into the vehicle, 2 15-amp sockets in the tray and a 10-amp socket inside the cabin, for a combined output of up to 6.9 kilowatts. Activating it is as simple as tapping the generator icon on the touchscreen, which brings up live readouts for every outlet so you can see exactly how much load you're drawing. If the battery starts running low while you're using it, the petrol engine quietly kicks in to keep the power flowing, with no input needed from a driver. In practice, that means running power tools on a remote job site, keeping a fridge going at an off-grid camp, or even powering a caravan's air conditioner, all without carrying a separate generator in the tray at all. It's the kind of capability that used to belong exclusively to dedicated electric vehicles, now sitting quietly under the bonnet of a diesel-class dual-cab ute. 10 features, and the honest truth is most of them cost nothing extra to use. They're just sitting there unused because nobody ever pointed them out. A switch that prevents a multi-$1,000 repair. A dial that reverses a trailer better than years of practice. A battery that turns a ute into a generator. None of it requires an aftermarket shop or a 4-figure invoice, just knowing where to look on a vehicle you might already own. So here's the real question worth sitting with. How many of these 10 were you already using, and how many were sitting in your own ute this entire time without you ever knowing they were there? If this list caught you out even once, there's a follow-up worth watching next, on the everyday habits that quietly wreck a diesel engine long before any of these features even get a chance to help.